In this video, let's try to enhance our application to use the JWT tokens instead of default generated ones. For the same, firstly, we have to add these three dependencies related to JSON web tokens inside our pom.xml. Post that, go to the project security config. Here, we can disable the CSRF. The reason is JWT itself is a token that we can make sure that whoever calling my backend is a valid person, because for every request I'm going to validate the token that they are going to provide to me. So if you again enable CSRF on top of it, it will be a redundant task to your server. That's why I'm going to disable it, and we are going to make sure that whoever calling to my backend application is the same one who initially made a request with a login operation. That we can achieve using the JWT token. That's why I'm going to disable the CSRF by calling disable. Now I have disabled the CSRF. Next, if you can recall, by default a J session ID is getting created by the Spring Security Framework, and it is getting stored inside the HTTP session of my server. So first I have to disable that default behavior. For the same, I am going to write a simple configuration just before my cars configuration, and you can see this is the configuration that I have written, where I'm trying to say to my Spring Security Framework, don't create any HTTP session and tokens. I will take care by myself. And for that reason, I'm just saying to the framework that I'm going to use the stateless security session creation policy, which indicates security framework not to generate any tokens. And there are other values also inside this session creation policy. Always is the one which always try to create a HTTP session token, and never means it will never generate. If required means only in the scenarios where if required it will generate, and stateless means it will never generate. The difference between the never and stateless is never will never create a token, but it will leverages if it is already present inside the HTTP session. So that's the four valid values on the side notes. But here we are using stateless to indicate never ever create the tokens for our application, and we will take care of it by ourselves. Now, when we generate a JWT token, we are going to send inside the header with a authorization header name and its a value. For the same, inside our cars configuration, I have to allow that header to go to my applications, whatever is consuming my backend application services. For the same, I just have to add a new line inside my cars configuration, which indicates that I want to expose the headers from my backend to outside front-end applications or any other applications which is consuming my services with the name authorization inside it. So this will expose our header to the other applications that are consuming our backend application. So to revise, we have made total 3 changes here. One is, firstly, we disable the CSRF since we are going to leverage JWT tokens, and the other one is we indicated Spring Security Framework to not generate any tokens by following the policy of stateless. And the last one, we made configurations inside our cars to make sure whatever authorization header that we are going to generate to get it exposed to the UI application. Now I will write a filter so that I can configure and fit into my Spring Security Framework. So my requirement is, during the initial login into my application, I have to generate a token, and for any other scenarios where the user want to access a protected resource, I want to validate whether the token that got generated by my server initially is really a valid one or it got tampered or not. For the same, in the next video, let's try to create filters to generate the JWT tokens and validate the same, and eventually configuring them inside our Spring Security flow by using the methods add filter before and add filter after. Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye.